Alright, Lobbies and Gentlegrams, in today's episode of Kanye in Devilland, I don't even know what to call this. We're gonna skip the rhymes and alliterations in this intro because Kanye will be providing us all the entertainment we need with these absolutely insane, I can't even call them insane, this is beyond insane. The catastrophic collection of cracked, cuckoo, cockamine, cringe, clownish, corny, crazy, chaotic, calic, clueless, cocky, conceited, confounding, contorted, cunning, cutthroat Twitter rant that Kanye Kardashian commenced back in February, but now he's firing at the freaky frontliner of the phony Montana OV host sweatshop and the bell-bottom bone-crushing, short-statured, sharp-shooting Compton killer. Also crashing out on the Chromacopia creator, Tyler the Creator, Georgia's Dracula, Playboi Carti, Future, Metro Boomin, Diddy, Jay-Z, Kim Kardashian. If you exist in pop culture, Kanye has probably tweeted about you in the last 24 hours, and it has not been positive. But if you want to give my life a little bit of positivity, join the Rapaholics tribe, like and subscribe, and let's see if Kanye is the villain or if he's on a vibe. So before we begin, obviously Kanye's tweets contain an insane amount of vulgarity. If you haven't been keeping up, this might shock you, but he uses a lot of very bad words very often. So for simplicity's sake, we're gonna replace a lot of these bad words with code words early on in the video. So anytime he mentions the German mustache man, hit, liar, really testing the limits of YouTube censorship policies here. We're gonna replace the mustache man's name in all of Kanye's tweets with Santa Claus. He also frequently calls himself one of the soldiers of the mustache man. The word rhymes with Potsy but starts with an N. We're gonna replace that word with princess. He also uses the R word, the slur against mentally disabled people. We're gonna keep that as the R word. He also uses the F word, that is a slur against homosexual individuals. We're gonna keep that as the F word. And we're not gonna get too deep in his anti-Semitic rants, but if Jewish people are mentioned in a bad way, we'll keep that as the J word. So Kanye has obviously been, for the last few years testing the limits in terms of what he could say, how outlandish he could get, and how far he could go into saying some of the most despicable, disgraceful things while still bouncing back from a cancellation. But this was taken up a notch, a disgusting notch, in February 2025 after he showed up to the Grammys with his naked wife. A lot of people had speculated that because Kendrick was the star of the show and not Kanye and his naked wife, and because Kendrick then went on to perform at the Super Bowl, Kanye likes being number one. When there's someone at the top, he'll make his jealousy very known. We've seen this with Drake. Now we're seeing it with Kendrick, but don't worry, he doesn't fall short of still hating on Drake. So yeah, things were taken up a notch right around the Grammys when Kanye West wasn't getting the attention he desired by showing up naked with his wife. So he went on Twitter and said, "I love Santa Claus. Now what?" Then he tweeted out, "I'm a princess." Then about 12 days later, he said, "After further reflection, I've come to the realization I'm not a princess." And those are his top 3 most liked tweets of all times. The one where he calls himself Santa Claus, aka the Mustache Man, that has 323,000 likes and 85 million impressions. His "I'm a princess" tweet has 304,000 likes and 111 million impressions. He also tweeted out "Good morning R words," which has 282,000 likes. This is an interesting one. He tweeted out, "Fat women are S offenders. I see them and I'm S offended. Making lingerie for fat women is like giving knives to little kids. They're gonna hurt somebody. If you find yourself in a fat woman's private part, just remember it's because you're broke." That has 242,000 likes. So you could see here that, Kanye recognizes he's gonna get the most attention by tweeting the most outlandish thing that comes to his mind. He also tweeted out, this was a big hit in terms of likes on Twitter. He said, "I turned down 3 photos this week with Make-A-Wish kids in wheelchairs." Over 200,000 likes on that tweet. Yeah, these crazy tweets weren't just a hit on Twitter. He also tweeted out saying, "My sales doubled since last night's Twitter rant. Damn, the world must be racist like me." Now, this one here was an obvious lie. He said, "I don't listen to rap. I don't know who the F is rapping anymore. Miles is like my favorite artist." It seems like today, once we get into these new tweets where he crashes out on the entirety of hip-hop, he's definitely been, in tune and keeping in touch with what's going on in rap. He also tweeted out "Free Diddy" a few times. He also tagged Donald Trump and said, "Please free my brother Diddy." He made Diddy merchandise, sold it on his website, gave half the profits to Diddy. He also spent $7 million on a Super Bowl commercial to tell everyone to go to his website, Yeezy.com, where the only item listed at the time was a t-shirt with the Mustache Man Santa Claus's symbol on it. So you can tell he's either out of his mind or thinks he's uncancelable, and the more outlandish things he says, the more sales are generated towards his website. And it makes sense that he went on this massive Twitter rant against hip-hop and the biggest artist in the game all throughout today, because obviously tonight he dropped his album. Well, not exactly. He dropped an unfinished version of his Bully album that he's been teasing for a while. This would mark the first Kanye solo album in almost 4 years. He's singing Spanish on it. The majority of the vocals are AI, but honestly, I gotta keep it real. It's a devastation that Kanye has become such a piece of crap with these tweets because his talent for production has not skipped a beat, no pun intended. Like, the instrumentation on this project, even though it's unfinished, it's incredible. And these songs, even though they're damn near skeletons, if he finished them in full, this could arguably be Kanye's best album since Life of Pablo. Like, I'm serious, go check it out for yourself. Maybe we'll do a breakdown of it if he drops the finished version. For now, I don't even think his music deserves attention. I think we only gotta shine light on these disgusting tweets so all of you guys know how horrible this man's thoughts have truly become. But yeah, sad, man. Like, I remember when he previewed Life of Pablo, it was during that massive fashion show where you had Young Thug and Lil Yachty modeling his clothes before they formed full-fledged careers of their own. Young Thug even took the aux cord at one point.
Hold up, Thug wanna play some new shit.
She suck on the plane and I jack her like ahead.
He had Travis Scott, Kid Cudi, Pusha T, 2 Chainz, Big Sean, like the whole world with him in that stadium as he was previewing the album. Beautiful moment. And now when he premieres this album, he's accompanied by Nick Fuentes, Diddy, his naked wife, and the most absurd tweets you've ever seen in your life. So the crazy crash out over all these rappers started a couple days ago after Playboi Carti dropped his new album. Kanye was noticeably missing from it, rightfully so. When the album first dropped, Kanye was very busy tweeting out things like, if a bisexual person can like both men and women, why can't I be a princess and also love J people? Then he finally discovered that Carti's album released. He praised a couple songs off of it. Then he realized that Kendrick was on it and tweeted out, I don't like Kendrick Lamar's music. He raps very good, but I didn't need to hear him on Carti's album. And of course, again, this is just him upset that Kendrick is having his moment right now, right? We'll touch on it later, but he's done the same thing to Drake plenty of times. And he emphasized this by saying, someone can't be the king until they take down the king. Around the same time, he also doubled down on his egregious F Virgil tweet by tweeting out again, F Virgil, so everyone remembers I said that. Then he tweeted out a screenshot saying, this happened without me being aware. How do you guys feel about this? And the screenshot said, Kim is the sole and exclusive owner of all trademarks relating to Northwest's name. Kanye's use of North's name, likeness, and trademark in connection with this recording is not only a violation of the party's 2022 stipulated judgment, but also an infringement under state and federal laws. Kim does not believe that participation in this project is in North's best interest. And at first glance, you might think that's crazy, right? Like, how does Kim own the trademark to Northwest's name when it's literally Kanye West's last name? But when you do a little digging, you come to find out that Kanye was trying to put Northwest on a song with Diddy and Diddy's son, and essentially Kim was just trying to stop that. Then he tweeted out a screenshot of his conversation with Kim where Kanye said, I'm never speaking to you again, and boy was Kim probably happy when he said that. Then she replied saying, I asked you at the time if I can trademark her name. You said yes. When she's 18, it goes to her. So stop. I sent paperwork over so she wouldn't be in the Diddy song to protect her. One person has to trademark. We agreed when they were born I would get all of our kids' names and trademarks, so no one else would take them. Man, divorce does not seem fun. But anyways, Kanye continues saying, amend it or I'm going to war and neither of us will recover from the public fallout. You're gonna have to unalive me. Kanye seemed to quickly forget about that issue and jump into the Playboi Carti issue, saying that J People business forced Carti to not put me on the album, and the same thing happened with Travis Scott. If you guys remember Utopia back in 2023, Kanye wasn't actually a feature on it, but his influence was felt throughout. A bunch of the songs were actually old Kanye songs from the Yeezus era, from the Donda era. He's saying the same thing is happening here with Carti's new album. Now, before we get into Kanye going in on Cardi and Kim, and yes, they're both related, Kanye first showed love to the only rapper he's had anything nice to say about in this whole rant, and that would be 50 Cent. He said, 50 Cent is one of my all-time favorite people. He will be one of the people who brings back black economic independence. Then he tweeted a video of him and Nick Fuentes and said, when you're more racist than racist. And in the midst of all that, after Kanye said that he wasn't allowed on Carti's album because of the J People, his ex-wife Kim tweeted out a screenshot of her listening to Carti's new album, specifically the lyrics where he shouts out Kanye and Kim's brand Skims, saying, I bought that girl a lot of clothes, but she loved her Skims. So she posted herself listening to that, then Carti reposted her saying, Kim Kardashian, tell my niece North to send me a song. This is after Kim flexed that she has full custody over North's name to Kanye, so he couldn't put her on a Diddy song. And once Kanye caught wind that Cardi, who had banished Kanye from his album, was now asking his ex-wife to collaborate with his daughter, who he does not have the right to license her name for, Kanye went absolutely off. First tweeting at 1 a.m. saying, I decided North won't be doing any songs with Cardi, how it looked like for me to get left off the album, and then he asks Kim to get vocals from my daughter. I don't give a F about none of this industry stuff, and how it's a Skims line in the first place. And I don't give a F what no comments. The man has the first and final say over his kids. Then he tweets out 2 photos, one of him hugging Virgil, one of him hugging Cardi, and says, who will be third? Implying that he made enemies out of both of them, even though Virgil sadly is deceased and unable to speak on this entire situation. And then the rant continues to explode to higher and higher proportions. Obviously, he continues to go in on Cardi, but first redirects the smoke to Kendrick. But first, Lawbreeze and Gentlegrams, I want to tell you guys about something that, unlike Drake, a bunch of you guys have been telling me you've been Anita Max winning some free cash from playing mobile games. So I want to put all you guys on to something that almost seems too good to be true. All right, let me give you a little glimpse into my life. When I'm not making this content for you guys, I have a disgusting addiction to my phone. My daily screen time is higher than Drake on that album cover, higher than Snoop off the edibles. So if you guys suffer that same addiction as me, I want to put you onto something that's going to change your life. FreeCash.com is a program that partners with mobile games that are looking for more users to play their games, and they will literally pay you to play their games for free. All you got to do is sign up using the QR code you see on the screen or using the link in the description of this video. You make an account super easy. All you got to do is put in your email, create a password, verify your email, and then you're good to go. And they got a bunch of games. My favorite is the Monopoly Go, because we're always on the go trying to make some money. Once you make an account, you just click the game you want to play, follow the directions that they give you. The directions are super easy. Usually you just got to download the game and start playing. So it's about time you put that phone addiction to good use. Again, use the QR code you see on the screen or the link in my description. Create an account and you could start making more than $150 just to play a game on your phone. So then Kanye gets into the Kendrick hate, saying, I hated Not Like Us. Hated with multiple A's. And we know Kanye hated Not Like Us because he did an interview a couple months back where he said that he was kind of disappointed that Kendrick took down his nemesis, Drake. Basically saying, like, if Drake is gone, who am I going to be enemies with? Kanye for years now has been attempting to either take down or glaze Drake. Every month it's a different thing, and that's because obviously he's insecure that, in a sense, Drake kind of took his position at the top of the game, and now he's insecure that he wasn't the one to dethrone Drake, it was actually Kendrick. You'll see why that plays an important role very shortly, but anyways, before then, Kanye continues saying, nobody gets a pass. I was a part of so many of these guys' success, and a lot of these guys let the J people control them. Pusha T talking about he don't agree with my political opinions. Bro, I hate all these guys that I've sat and chopped songs for. Ty Dolla $ign didn't have to use the term hate speech. Every guy in this industry is a S-lave. Trying to dodge the censorship here. But yeah, everyone in the industry is an SL-ave to this industry. Everyone. Do your effing diss songs or pull up. Basically begging for some diss songs aimed at him so he could get some attention. And what he's referring to with Ty Dolla $ign is the fact that after Kanye's first rant about the Mustache Man, Ty Dolla $ign, who has collaborated now with Kanye on 2 albums in 2024, put on Instagram saying, I don't condone any form of hate speech. Nice of him to do that, but somehow Kanye takes that as an insult. Then he tweets at the mother of Playboi Carti's kids, Iggy Azalea, saying, hey Iggy Azalea, I need to get Onyx vocals on my song. That's my nephew. Oh, and I'm a rap about one of your businesses. This is in retaliation, obviously, for Cardi reposting Kim's story and saying, I need to get Northwest on a song. Then Kanye adopted Playboi Carti's perspective in a tweet saying, hey North, your dad gave me my biggest song and cosign, and I left him off my album because of his tweets. Oh, but North, you're my niece. I gotta use your vocals. And what's crazy to me is, like, Northwest is actively on TikTok and stuff. She's actively on social media. There's no doubt that she sees some of this to some extent. To put your kids in the middle of this is crazy to me. But then he tweets out more pictures, this time of him hugging Virgil, one of him hugging Kid Cudi, one of him hugging Travis Scott, and another one of him hugging Cardi. And he said, they all turned their back when I spoke the truth. The J people punked y'all. Oh, and the French. And it's like, imagine how bad of a person you gotta be to have all these people who you rightfully, gave massive cosigns to early on, really did put them on, give them all their first major look, and all of them turn their back on you. Imagine how bad of a person you gotta be for that to happen. And then he continued going at now Tyler, the Creator, tweeting out a picture of them hugging and saying, "This guy has never made a memorable song. He's like if an artist checked every box other than having any good verses or songs, and his last album ripped off my whole language." That's crazy. Like, how are you going to say Tyler, the Creator, has not one good verse or song when you put out Vultures 2 last year? Delusional. Then he speaks on the Like That remix he did last year. Because if you guys remember, obviously Kendrick kicked off the beef with the Future and Metro Boomin song Like That, where he said, "F the big three, it's just big me." And then around 2 weeks later, we got a Kanye remix to that song, which was definitely not asked for, at least from the fans. It was a horrible verse. And Kanye premiered it on a podcast where he was talking about, this being the elimination of Drake, Lucian being Drake's rich baby daddy. He was talking all this crazy stuff. So before he actually said that, Metro had tweeted out a picture of Kanye and Metro in the studio together. But once he dropped the verse and was talking all this crazy talk about the elimination of Drake, Metro completely removed himself from the situation, removed that picture with Kanye, and everyone was like, okay, classic Kanye. He just inserted himself into this beef for no reason, just to seek attention. So now Kanye actually mentions that in a new tweet, posting pictures of Future and Metro Boomin saying, "These guys called me to get on the Like That remix, and then after I mentioned Lucy and Grange, they didn't pick up my call or put the song on DSPs." And of course, now all of Drake's OVHO fans are using this to fuel their conspiracy that this entire thing was not actually propped up by Kendrick, but instead, Lucy and Grange, the CEO of UMG, was the puppet master just trying to eliminate Drake and used Kendrick, Metro, and Future as pawns to go and destruct Drake's reputation. And now that's why Drake is suing over Not Like Us. Kanye just adding, fuel to the fire on that conspiracy by saying that, the second he mentioned Lucy and Grange being Drake's rich baby daddy, that's when Metro and Future removed themselves from the situation. If I had to guess, I'd probably say that's not true. It's probably because Kanye's verse was whack. He was talking crazy in that interview and just didn't belong in that beef in the first place. So then he continues going in on Ty Dolla $ign, because obviously working with Kanye on Vultures 1 especially gave Ty a huge look, right? Before that, none of his albums really performed that well. He was more of a feature artist, but after that, he now had, the number one song and number one album in the country. It was a great look for him. So Kanye shares a screenshot which said, "Ty Dolla $ign's streaming numbers experienced a substantial increase following the release of Vultures 1, his collab album with Kanye. The album's success propelled him to the 9th most streamed artist on Spotify, a remarkable jump of 155 spots from his previous position. This surge in streams indicates a significant boost in his streaming metrics." Then he also shared the screenshot that Ty posted on his Instagram, which said, "I do not condone any form of hate speech towards anybody," which is a pretty reasonable thing to say, right? When your collaborator of 2 albums is talking all this crazy talk about, J people, about black people, about basically everyone, calling himself a racist. And so Kanye tweets those screenshots out saying, "I don't need to be condoned." But Kanye, Ty was condoning hate speech. He wasn't condoning Kanye West. Are you saying you embody hate speech? And yes, I really am talking to Kanye in this video because Kanye has been beefing with all of his fans on Twitter. There's a very good chance that he's surfing the internet right now, watching all these think pieces on him. So Kanye, if you're watching this, let's have a rap battle, bro. Rapaholics cannot beat, 2007 graduations, Kanye, but I can definitely cook up a better diss song than you can right now in 2025. So drop a comment if Rapaholics should drop a Labri and Kanye diss track in 2025. But let's keep going on. So he starts begging Kendrick to drop a diss track against him, replying to a fan. The fan had said, "You need Kendrick to give you your own Meet the Grams." And then Kanye replied saying, "Kendrick, please come diss me on behalf of Lucy and Grange, please." So Kendrick, you heard that, man. You heard the man. Let's go. Let's get back in the booth. So Kanye continues, "I held my tongue about not being on Cardi's album. Him going to my ex to ask my daughter to be on a song 2 days later was too far. Nobody finna play with me." And in the meantime, Iggy Azalea responded to Kanye after he brought her and her son into this whole situation by tweeting at him, basically saying please leave us out of this nonsense. Cardi has 3 other kids and he's barely active in this kid's life to begin with. Sad situation all around, but then we get to a little bit of a funnier situation where Kanye tweets out a screenshot of text that he got from Labri Graham's Greatest Glazer Top 5. If you guys don't know who Top 5 is, he is the self-proclaimed shooter for Drake. I did a whole breakdown of who this guy is, his connection to Drake. You guys can check that out. Maybe I'll leave it in the description. He basically met Drake when he was 16 years old. He used to be called Shirt Off Shotty. He would run around Toronto shirtless. Drake met him when he was this shirtless 16-year-old kid. They took pictures and connected from there. Needless to say, strange situation, but he texted Kanye saying, "Ask about me, yay. That's disrespectful where I'm from to question who I am. I'm him. I'm in my through the wire phase. Get to know me. The industry is small, and the girl's gonna make it even smaller. Give me a call. I feel disrespected. And Kanye tweeted that saying, bro, I don't care about threats. Top 5. Where's the 30 phone calls in a row now that I posted the weird threatening text? It's funny, Kanye couldn't get Drake's attention, so now he downgraded to beefing with Drake's greatest glazer. But Kanye continues, now going at Kim, saying, so Kim got the name and likeness over my black children, so a white woman has control over the name and likeness of my black children, and then speaks to Cardi about putting my daughter on a song with him. These dumb celebrities be trying to play with me in my face. Yeah, it's not like you were trying to get her on a song with a man who is convicted of trafficking and hosting freak-offs with baby oil. And it's not like you agreed to these trademark ownership conditions when you initially divorced Kim. These are all things you agreed to initially. You also agreed to marry her and have kids with her. What do you expect at this point? Then Kanye goes on dissing more individuals. If you guys didn't know, he's been rolling around now with Jim Jones, who is one of the members of the Diplomats. Jim Jones, The Game, and Ty Dolla $ign have seemed to be the only ones, aside from Diddy, who have been, standing by Kanye ever since his Mustache Man's tweets back in February. But now he's tweeting out F Jim Jones. Then he tweets out how every guy you know hit a girl before, but everybody's mad at Diddy. Then he says that Cassie extorted Diddy. He tweeted out, Cassie came to Puff and said, give me 30 million or I'm going to release a tell-all book. That sounds like extortion to me. Then he tweets out, I love A$AP Rocky. I love Kodak Black. Rocky never did no F-word stuff. Then things get really, really sad, honestly. I did a whole piece on Kanye a couple weeks back where I emphasized that, since he lost his mother, it always felt like ever since then through the music or through his actions that Kanye had nothing to really live for, nothing to give him purpose, and nothing to keep him grounded, because his mom was the one always keeping his ego in check. Right after he lost her, obviously we got 808s and Heartbreak, songs like Pinocchio Story, where he's talking about, there's no Gucci I could buy, no fashion that could, bring me peace of mind or happiness. I'm just this lost boy, in a world of materialism and vain. I have nothing to truly live for. The one thing I did have to live for is now gone. And then, of course, Kim and his kids brought him a newfound purpose, but then he lost them. Then he seemingly lost his mind. He lost a lot of his, biggest brand deals. Now he's losing, all his peers within the industry. I don't know what Kanye has left, but, amidst all the chaos within these tweets, he tweets out something, again, really, really sad, saying, I thought about unaliving myself at least once a month ever since my mom lost her life in her surgery. Always blamed myself. I felt like if I never made it, my mom would still be here. People ask if I'm okay. This past 5 weeks have been the first time I haven't wanted to unalive since my mom unalived. A lot of people have things they want to say but are scared of being canceled. In a weird way, I speak for them. Basically saying that, for a long time, or basically his entire life since his mom passed, he's wanted to, or contemplated unaliving himself. But ever since he started tweeting about the Mustache Man, tweeting all these, outrageously offensive things at these different groups, he has now apparently not wanted to unalive himself and has felt this newfound sense of purpose, I guess. As he puts it, speaking for the people who want to say things but are scared of being canceled. I think this is a horrible thing to, gain purpose from, because everything you're saying is just disgustingly offensive. There's nothing of value or of positivity that you're bringing with these messages here. And, the duality is that for a long time through your music, you did speak for people who, had things they wanted to say or, lives they wanted to live, and you gave them the inspiration to do that through your messaging. Now it's like you're doing the complete opposite, basically destroying your own life, destroying your own reputation, all your relationships, and really you're just selfishly speaking for yourself, speaking to gain the most attention you possibly could, wrong or right. And Kanye continues going, I intentionally never slept with Iggy Azalea because of Playboi Carti. Oh, and A$AP Rocky. Oh, and Pusha T, and Tyga, and French Montana. Oh, and you get the picture. Basically saying, like, he didn't sleep with, I guess, Rihanna because of A$AP Rocky. He never slept with Pusha T's wife. He never slept with Kylie Jenner, who was with Tyga, which is funny because Kanye was with Kylie's stepsister, Kim Kardashian, the whole time. I don't know how he would have pulled that off. French Montana, I think, was with Khloe Kardashian, so he's saying he never slept with her because of French Montana. I don't think, he would have been able to do that to begin with without French Montana in the picture, but yeah, basically saying like he wouldn't have slept with his, buddy's significant others. He keeps going saying, I just got diagnosed with Twitter Tourette's. Then he posts a bunch of insane merch, which I'm not even going to comment on. Then he writes, people be like, I'm not speaking to him. I changed my number first, B-word. Then one of his fan accounts posted a video of Playboi Carti and he tweeted at them saying, take this stuff down. Then he tweeted a screenshot saying, threats from Drake shooter, top 5. First, you asked me for a Mustache Man chain, and then begged me for a Mustache Man t-shirt for your hood. This dumb guy gonna get everybody locked up. Next thing you know, Drake gets charged with a RICO. And Drake paid for you to get out of jail, and then you snitched and told me he was sending Kim Kardashian Birkins on Valentine's Day. I don't give a F about that old white lady other than her always pulling BS with my black children. Oh, and I did ask about you. You're a P-word. You're dumb and no one respects you. You thought you were going to extort me? You dumb F-word? And aside from the F-word part, this is about the only tweet that I actually agree with Kanye on. This guy is very lame and will get Drake in a lot of trouble with all his antics. And it would be very funny if that's true, that Drake was actually sending Kim Valentine's Day gifts. So the screenshot was a text message convo between Top 5 and Kanye. I showed you guys this earlier, but this is an updated screenshot where Kanye responded and said, "Yo, where'd you go? I'm waiting for some more threats." Then Kanye continues going in on Drake, saying Drake's clothing style in Australia is really bad. Send help. I'ma keep it light with Drake. You know what it is and what it's always been with all these you can skim through bars. Drake, an F-word, and been a F-word, always will be an F-word. What he's referring to with the skim through bar is the fact that on Family Matters, Drake was talking about, this being a whole 20v1, saying, 2 separate albums dissing, I just did the Kim to it, I skimmed through it, referencing Kim and Kanye's clothing brand Skim. But then he followed that bar up saying, me and Savage had the girls dripping wet at shows, had to swim through it. And this was in reference to the fact that Kim actually went to one of Drake's shows and she was definitely happy to be there. There's this famous video, I'll try to post it here, where Drake is walking by her and she's looking at him the way Lobby looks at a lawsuit. With much pleasure. I could see why Kanye would be mad about that, but he's saying, Drake's an F-word. He doesn't care about all these, skim bars and everything that Drake is potentially doing with Kim. But then he continues, now he's going back after Cardi, saying, after listening to Cardi's album, I'm gonna say something I never would have thought I'd say. Future is washed. I don't know about that, but let's keep going. Hate to give this F-word credit, but favorite line of the battle last year is when the F-word rapped, Kendrick's rapping like he's trying to free the slaves. A bunch of laughing emojis, then he said, he does rap like that. Then he had some more smoke for Kendrick, saying that Kendrick sounds like a R-apist. Nobody has ever listened to Kendrick or knows any of his songs. If I live another week, all of you guys are P-words. Kendrick was the industry puppet, then they was done with him. I actually kind of like Kendrick's halftime show, but me, Travis Scott, or F-word, aka Drake, deserved a Super Bowl before Kendrick. So basically Kanye's new nickname for Drake is the homophobic slur, the F-word. Then he continues, I don't personally have an issue with Kendrick, I probably will now, but he was a pawn to take down the F-word, aka Drake, because these record labels don't want big artists because the smaller artists are easier to control and replace. It's also worth noting that all these Kanye tweets got deleted because he was violating their policies by continuously writing the F-word when he was talking about Drake. But then he continues saying, Cardi B replaced Nicki Minaj, Meg Thee Stallion replaced Cardi B, Doja Cat replaced Megan Thee Stallion, Doechii replaced Doja Cat after Doja started rapping this Mustache Man stuff. Funny how similar Doja and Doechii's names are. They had Lizzo to promote black obesity. And then on a side note, I'm really proud of Lizzo. She's an amazing talent and she taken on her own life into her own hands. And yeah, good for Lizzo. She lost a bunch of weight. That is very good. So he kind of continues saying 50 Cent is the GOAT. Then he says, where's Cardi B going to be 10 years from now? They used her. Then he shares a screenshot where he was texting an unknown person saying, I have a stylist for Drake I'd like to send to him. And he captioned that tweet, that screenshot saying, and I tried to help the F-word, aka Drake, out as soon as he got to Australia, just quote unquote for the culture. Like, how the F-word gonna go to Australia and make it seem like we dress like that in North America? All Drake's friends, aka extorters, aka broke, talentless people, are yes men for letting Drake dress like that. Then he tweeted, I love the game. Then he tweeted a screenshot of one of Drake's outfits in Australia and he said, this is a crime. Then he said, I ain't know Drake was starring in Barbie 2. And this is a pretty funny tweet. I think that's the truest thing Kanye has said in this whole Twitter rant. Then he said, for the gay people I know, I don't use the F word to be offensive. I understand that it is offensive sometimes, but I need you to understand that I'm not going to stop using it. I'm invincible. Then he replied to a fan who said, I know Tyler the Creator is hurt right now. He supported him until the end. And Kanye replied to that saying, yeah, these F-word rap guys get no passes anymore. You ain't have to unfollow me to make your point. You ain't even have to make a point. You're a pawn. Then he tweeted out probably the most vile thing he has said throughout this entire rant, saying, Wait, has anyone ever seen Jay-Z and Beyonce's younger kids? They're the R word. No, like literally. And this is why artificial insemination is such a blessing. Having our children is a choice. Then he tweets at Iggy Azalea saying, Iggy, I was sorry for speaking on your kid. That was some F-word Cardi stuff to do. Now, Jay-Z and Beyonce on the other end, F those people and their entire families. He said that much more vulgarly, but I'm not going to say some of these words in the tweet. Don't forget, like the craziest part in all this is that Jay-Z was the one who, put that initial spotlight on Kanye. When Kanye was going into every record label, playing them his music, and they just kept turning him down, rejecting him, not listening to it, it was Jay-Z, Dame Dash, everyone at Rockefeller who saw the vision and signed Kanye, giving him the chance to put out The College Dropout, giving him that full creative control, giving him the platform and freedom that enabled him to become, the artist he is today, if you even want to call him an artist at this point. Also, his first big placement was, half the production credits on Jay-Z's album, The Blueprint. Before he was even a rapper, Jay-Z was giving him these major looks, and now he's coming back saying Jay-Z's kids look like they're the R word, showing no respect. He'll continue going in on them. We'll touch on that shortly. Actually, we'll touch on that now. That's the next tweet. He said, I need everyone to know that I took the post about Jay-Z and Beyonce's family down, the one where he calls their kids the R word, because there was a possibility of my Twitter being canceled. Not because I'm a good person. I took it down like Down syndrome. Get it? Am I right? Am I right? F the world. Real talk. F everybody. I am evil now. Y'all didn't make me evil. This is my choice. This is my soul. And then he puts, a screenshot of just black. And again, that's what's sad, right? Is that it feels like ever since his mom passed and he lost her, his soul has felt empty, right? Like we see that through the music, through all the moves he's made. He's obviously, a very sad man who needs help at this point. A couple tweets earlier, he said, F Jim Jones, even though he was rolling with Jim Jones like 2-3 weeks ago. He said Jim Jones doesn't deserve an explanation, but then he decided to explain to Jim Jones saying, I know this is going to sound like some Tarantino movie, but here it goes. So Jim Jones got paid $2 million to introduce me to a gentleman named Mr. Pink to discuss my crypto coin and never told me he was getting $2 million and never cut me in. But that wasn't the worst part. We were working on clothes and I asked him for a PDF and the guy told me he doesn't know how to make a PDF. Get one of your young guys to make it, Capo. I actually love Jim Jones and I'll never go full yay, but I want the PDF more than the money. And if this isn't making sense to you guys, then you might be a little slow. I'm just kidding. It's completely normal. None of this makes sense. This is all insanity. So then he continues, okay, guys, what do you feel like was my most extreme tweet so far? So he's obviously self-aware of, what he's doing here. One of his fans replied saying, if you even had to ask, have you even gone hard enough? And then Kanye replied with laughing emojis. Then he shared some half-naked pictures of his wife. Then he starts going into, some really dark stuff, saying that the sooner they unalive me, the greater I'll be. And he keeps walking this really dangerous line in these tweets, talking about either unaliving himself or just getting unalived unexpectedly. And it's really scary. Like, I pray that he gets the help he deserves and that he doesn't do something to, really harm himself to the point of no return, because it's obvious that he's having an extremely manic episode right now. Like, all these tweets I'm reading, you guys, have been done in the last 24 to 48 hours, meaning that Kanye has nonstop been on his phone on this tweeting spree. If I look right now, he's probably tweeted even more. And these thoughts are sporadic, all over the place, horribly vulgar and, evil, as he puts it. Like, this is some dark stuff. He continues going, Cardi assaults women, I assault women, but everybody hates Diddy. Then he randomly posts his album Bully. Again, maybe this was all just the rollout for that. And it's sad to say, but like, a lot of these songs are unfinished, but like the production is so beautiful that like this could really be one of his best album in 10 years if he actually finishes it and he gets off Twitter and stops with this BS and just focuses strictly on creating. Is it too late for this to make an impact on a global level if he does finish the project? Absolutely. But at least, creating something positive can bring him some sort of positivity and his fans something to, remember him fondly over. Because I can imagine if you were like a diehard Kanye fan, this is the most devastating 2 months since you started following him. Then he continues saying, would you guys rather have Vultures 3 or Donda 3? And then he says, I guess the people condone Donda 3. And it's crazy to me because like if you rewind like this day 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, like Kanye had such a mysterious, ominous presence. Like every time he popped out, released new music, it was this massive event. Think back even 4 years ago to the Donda Stadium listening parties or, in Wyoming when he was premiering all those albums with Pusha T and Kid Cudi. And then you think back to Pablo when he did that massive event. Like 10 years ago today, if he tweeted out, which album would you guys rather? The world would be going crazy. That was right in between Yeezus and Life of Pablo. Like there was a massive gap where Kanye wasn't really saying much. And he was by far the most anticipated artist to drop. And now it's like People are begging him to not drop. People don't want new Kanye music. It's crazy what 10 years can do. But anyways, yeah, he drops this album. I mean, look, you don't even see people discussing this. It's crazy. Think 10 years ago if Kanye just surprise dropped an album, how big of an event that would be. Right now, it's like Playboi Carti has 10 times the buzz that Kanye has, so much so to the point that Kanye literally has to beef Carti just for attention and is practically begging him to put him on his album. So then Kanye announces that he's going to be retiring from dissing Drake once Drake inevitably pops out with his ex-wife Kim, saying, "These are the last times I get to diss Drake before the Kim pop out, because then it looks like I'm hating or care, and Twitter's stopping me from using the F word." Then he retweets the old tweet about Jay-Z's kid being the R word and says, "If Twitter take my stuff down, then so be it, but I need y'all to know Jay-Z or nobody have no power over me. At least Jay-Z and Beyonce get to raise their R-word kids. Ain't no celebrity ever said nothing to come to my aid when it came to these white women taking my kids because they were mad I was wearing Trump hat. F Jay-Z and his whole family, especially his unalivers." And now that you think Jay-Z was the one who made me take that tweet down, I gotta double down. Somebody from my music team called me and begged me to take it down and spoke on Twitter banning, etc. I'm so mad that I took it down. The only thing that I was mad about in the last few hours was taking down that Jay-Z and Beyonce tweet. And by the way, Dame Dash signed me, not Jay-Z. Concerning the Jay-Z and Beyonce tweet, people said I would regret it. No, I regret taking it down. My Twitter is a one-way conversation. Sometimes you have to go dark. I was trying to keep it light-skinned. Then he starts going back at Cardi, saying Cardi is just a way more basic, dumber version of Virgil, finessing Kanye and Drake cosigns. Virgil has maxed out Cardi's finesse card. Ain't no hugs this time. I'm telling you, he's really mad that he wasn't on that Cardi album. But then he actually had some nice words to say about Drake's rich baby daddy, Lucien Grange, the CEO of UMG, saying, honestly, Lucien is an employee, he's a nice guy, and the J-words have control of him. The only thing Playboi Carti can say to me is, I'm sorry. You know I had to use the J-words, print these vinyls, and do bundles to pump up sales, and I shouldn't have been contacting your baby mama about getting your daughter on a song and rapping about Skims. I was always on Cardi's side. Then people do stuff like this that they shouldn't do. Then he says, I know Jay-Z is driving around like, dang, I should have unalived Kanye. I know it's going to hurt Jay-Z to unalive me, but somebody's got to do it. Plus, I don't want the J-words getting credit for my unaliving. I also don't want Jay-Z to get in trouble for my unaliving. Maybe Drake's Glazer top 5 can come do it. I love Jay-Z and I do feel bad. I always felt like the black sheep, like I wanted family in this music stuff. I'd run on stages thinking I was doing the right thing and would always be a slight. Jay not coming to my first wedding, him putting Kendrick on the Super Bowl over me or even us, never being invited to stuff, taking jabs about my red hat on Donda. I felt like both him and his wife could have helped me more with my custody battle with my kids. They could have used their cultural position to not just watch the Kardashians run me over. This stuff hurts, so F both of them. Because when I needed them, it was F me. All these F-word celebrity people watched the Kardashians run me over with my kids. Cardi's just a sweet kid, but he crossed the line, and now I'm gonna do everything I can to legally burn this guy in a... I can't say the rest, but legally burn this guy, I guess. I am the top of all these guys, and you never cross the dawn. I am the worst enemy to have. I've stopped expecting loyalty. People be knowing what they up to the whole time. F Virgil. Then he posts a picture of the Civil War movie, but it's his face and Cardi going head to head, photoshopped in. And on his team is Diddy, the Mustache Man, and Dave Blunts. And then on Cardi's team, it's The Weeknd, Ken Carson, and Destroy Lonely. And someone pointed out that he used this same picture of the Civil War poster multiple times, but his teams looked a lot better a couple of years back. Then he continues going on. I am in pain that no one person can fix. The betrayal. Virgil, John Legend, Kim, Travis Scott, Playboi Carti, Big Sean, Jay-Z, Ty Dolla $ign, Tyler the Creator, Lil Durk, Common, Kid Cudi, Pusha T, Don C, Amber, The Kardashians, Adidas, Demna and Balenciaga, my own kids, my own family, the black community, and of course the J-word. I am in pain. I bled for everyone here. I mean, listen, again, I said this in my last video on Kanye, like, you've never really seen a man self-destruct like we have with Kanye, where he's essentially lost everything throughout the way, right? His kids, his family, his friends, his industry peers, his best friends. Unfortunately, it, I believe, all stem back to the fact that he initially lost his mother. But all of these losses that he named here, you can name a reason why all of these guys distance themselves from him. I mean, he names Kim here. Obviously, you know, throughout the constant harassment of her, Pete Davidson, like everyone she was attached to, it would make sense that she keeps a little bit of distance from him. Travis Scott, you're tweeting all these messed up things about, you know, black people, about J people, about all these other rappers, it makes sense why, Travis kept some distance. Same thing with Cardi. As for Big Sean, I mean, you got on an interview and said you deserve to be unalived simply for signing Big Sean. And Big Sean was one of the most loyal artists to you and the most profitable artist on your record label. Jay-Z, I mean, you just called his kids the R word. Of course he's going to jump ship on you. Ty Dolla $ign, as he said on Instagram, he doesn't condone hate speech. Tyler, the Creator, I'm sure feels the same way. Kid Cudi, you've said tons of horrible things about him. Amber Rose, you said you had to take 30 showers after you broke up with her and got with Kim. Adidas, I mean, obviously they jumped ship after everything you said about J people. I can't even keep going on. I mean, this is just a victim who's crying wolf, if that makes sense. Like, this is just a guy who has dug his own hole and is now crying that he's in it. And a part of me really feels bad for him because obviously he's not mentally well, right? Which is going to lead you to say things like this that he's saying on Twitter, have thoughts like this to begin with. And I mean, he says it in the next tweet. He says, I am in pain. My soul is black. I am evil. But he says that, and then, 5 minutes later, he tweets, Kim Kardashian is an an S trafficker. Or the Kardashians are S workers and they S traffic all the black children they strategically produce. And I mean, I could continue going on here, but I think I'll spare you guys the details. If you want to see all of his tweets, even after he deletes them, you could go to the website yzy-twts.com. I think it's important to, keep an archive of all this and document it, not because, there's anything positive about it, but the opposite, right? In 2-3 years from now, when he tries to come back and put out an album, it's important to remember that, these were the thoughts he had. These were the things he said. This is what he believes about, a lot of different groups of people and has used his influence to attempt to spread some horribly evil messages. Again, he's dug himself in a hole and then cries victim about it. It's sad that he can't have, full joint custody of his children, that he hasn't seen them in a while as he tweets, but with his type of following and the type of stuff he's tweeting, he'd be putting them in danger by, keeping them around and saying this type of stuff. Putting his kid on a song with Diddy, calling the mother of his children an S trafficker on a public platform to, over 30 million followers. You act like you care about your kids, but this is a digital footprint that you're leaving for them to, witness for the rest of their lives. If you were really fighting for them and not just for yourself, if you were really fighting for, creators who you feel like are being manipulated and used as pawns in this big corporate scheme, you wouldn't be attacking, an entire religious group about it. You wouldn't be attacking all your peers in the industry. You'd be trying to put in real work behind the scenes to use your influence and your power to make a positive change. I mean, there was a time years and years ago where I guess his entire Good Music record label fell apart, and it was announced, I believe Kanye even announced it, that, the company that owned his record label, I believe it was Def Jam, had them in these terrible contracts where a lot of the artists didn't have their masters. They were not getting the proper royalties. The contracts were just unfair, essentially. And he was saying he was dismantling that whole record label to try to fight for them to get their masters. Big Sean, years later, after Kanye said that signing him was the worst thing he ever did in his life, came back and said Kanye never came back to give Sean his masters. He never fought for him. Instead, he went on these interviews, he went on Twitter and spewed, hate-fueled rants about him. And this was your most loyal artist. If you think about who has been signed to Kanye the longest, who put out the most amount of platinum albums and singles under Kanye's record label, that was Big Sean. He drove in the most amount of revenue for that record label. He had that record label on his back. He carried that thing even more than Kanye did at some points, because Kanye would take years off while Big Sean was dropping albums every 1 to 2 years, dropping singles constantly. Like, same thing with Pusha T, John Legend, and this is how Kanye comes back to speak on them. He's not trying to fight for them. He's trying to self-destruct or something. And the scariest part is that he keeps talking about either unaliving himself or someone coming to unalive him. I really pray we don't see that. I pray that, Elon Musk can somehow take this guy's Twitter away and he can go get the help that he needs, start rebuilding, start sending out some well-deserved apologies, and start getting back to the music if it's not too late. Let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you in the next one.